Hey, how's your meal?
You know what my mom used to say? She used to say you have to eat every single grain on your plate, or else you get pimples. That's some of the things she used to say were so stupid and crazy. I guess that's why my sister had so many pimples growing up. Just kidding, Connie. I love you.
Hello, this is Joe from The Healthy Gamer, back with episode 2 of our Get Jacked Challenge series. Now, the clip that you just watched hinted at what we'll be talking about this week, which is food and nutrition. And I just want to say, Mom, I don't think the things that you told me are stupid. I was saying that I was pretty dumb for believing all of those things as I grew up. And I just want to say I love you, Mom, and all the crazy myths that you shared with me, too. And speaking of believing in food myths, up until this week, there were still a lot of concepts about diet, fitness, and nutrition that I still wasn't sure about. It's so easy to be overwhelmed with all the things you read online or what friends will tell you to follow that sometimes it's a little difficult to discern what's fact and fiction and what you should actually be listening to. Thankfully, after an interview with Supplement Superstore's Braden Posey, who is a NASM certified personal trainer as well as a nutrition specialist, and an implemented personalized weightlifting and nutrition guide developed by Jack Jones, I now have a better understanding of what I should be doing and what everyone else should be eating based on their personal fitness goals. But before we get in depth with nutrition in this week's episode, I wanted to do some general housekeeping with an update on the League of Legends Challenge. Out of the last 10 ranked matches that I've played, I've won exactly 50% of them, which kind of puts me in the same exact spot as I was last week. But I am a few points higher in my Silver 3 division. As you guys know, solo queue is always one step forward, one step back, but I'm not giving up just yet. You can follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/healthygamerjoe and follow my Twitter at healthygamerjoe for any updates on streams that are being posted, as well as gaming content and even fitness content as well. I also wanted to acknowledge all the people out there who are participating in this 12 weeks of fitness challenge with me. You know, here's a shout out to Naked Chef Gaming, Tommy Blue 4, Matthew Sweeney, Jonathan O'Toole, John Torres, Spencer Wilson, and I'm sure I missed somebody out there, but all of you guys, keep it up. Pretty soon I'm going to be asking for photos and for video submissions, so be on the lookout for that too. Alright, so without further ado, here is episode 2 on diet and nutrition as part of the 12-week Get Jacked Challenge series.
What we do here is go back.
I'll be honest here. At the beginning of the week, before talking to any professionals, I only really knew one thing, that I had to eat more. In my mind, what I ate didn't really matter as long as I had calories and they filled me up. Sure, I knew I had to consume protein, but like I said in the previous episode, if I really wanted to succeed in my goal of gaining 10 pounds of muscle, I needed to get serious. I needed structure. My first stop in search of knowledge was to see Braden Posey, nutrition specialist and manager of 2 local supplement superstores. While talking to him, I brought up a tip that an employee at a big chain supplement retailer had told me, which was to snack on things like a box of Nerds candy. In response, Braden revealed some truth to that sentiment, but mentioned how goals like gaining or losing weight, even with exercise, could actually be harmful to your overall health if you don't pay attention to where your calories come from.
It's kind of tricky because at the end of the day, the law of thermodynamics basically just shows that, like, if you burn more than you take in, you're going to lose weight. If you take in more than you burn, you're going to gain weight. So yes, like, taking in Nerds can actually be helpful. But there's a balance you have to strike between being nutritionally beneficial to live till 90 and being nutritionally beneficial to gaining muscle, because they're not always going to be hand in hand. The same as with losing weight. You know, can you lose weight and not have a single vegetable? Yeah. Is that going to be the absolute best way to do that so that you can live until you're 95 with great health? Probably not.
This week, I've been working out with my buddy AJ, who is a former football player and the size to back up that statement, and his fiancée, Chloe, what I'd describe as your average-sized young 20-something-year-old. Both have set the goal of getting leaner before their wedding day. I asked Braden how they should be planning their diets to fit their needs in comparison to mine.
The first thing you have to keep in mind with bigger people is, if he was a football player, he probably has a bigger frame than you do. So starting out of the gate, like a nutrition plan for you to lose weight, at 5'9", say 200 pounds, it's going to be way different than a nutrition plan for him. So a lot of times what you would consider even maybe a weight gain diet for someone his size would actually be something that would allow him to burn body fat. So the same principles apply. You probably want to stay about 500 calories under, his base metabolic needs. Another really good starting point is try to do about a gram of protein per pound of body weight.
He went on to explain that carbohydrates, which usually get a really bad rep in the media, isn't something to be completely avoided. Yes, having too many carbs can add weight for some, but they provide necessary energy for your body. Braden says to think of it as earning your carbohydrates. Those who are more active should consume the carbs to sustain that lifestyle, while those who are more sedentary could benefit from keeping their carb count lower. As for women, some women might experience more sensitivity when they intake their carbs, but for the most part, there's not much of a difference, and as Braden puts it, people are people. But before I let Braden go, I wanted to ask him one more thing about a certain topic. A topic that only really applies if you're a certain age. That, of course, is alcohol. Now, as someone who occasionally partakes in drinking, I wanted to know, how does alcohol affect my personal fitness goals and whether or not I can achieve them?
A study that was on point, and I wish I could cite it, but basically it said that if you're trying to gain weight, you can drink a very moderate amount, like a glass or two of alcohol a day, and really not see any change, nothing negative. However, if you're trying to lose weight, alcohol becomes much more counterproductive to your goals because of the metabolic effect alcohol has on you and sort of the chemical processes that happen when you're consuming it. Mm-hmm. Now that being said, can you lose weight drinking? Oh yeah, for sure. You definitely can. You have to build into your calories and make sure that you're not hurting yourself. But my rule of thumb is if you want to have the body you want, but not be an on-stage bodybuilder or something, drinking one night a week is, where you have 5 or 6 drinks kind of thing. That's about all you'll do.
So there you have it. For those of you like me with similar goals, the answer is no. Consuming alcohol won't completely ruin your chances of gaining muscle. But Braden brings up a really good point that I'm sure Jack would agree with, in that alcohol has a lasting impact the next day. It could bring your performance down below 100%, whether it applies to productivity or working out. Without trying to sound like a PSA announcement, because I really do know the pleasures of enjoying a good beer, it's always wise to consider the consequences of consuming alcohol. As for me, I really want to hit my goal of gaining at least 10 pounds of muscle. I want to be in the best condition to perform both in and out of the gym, which is why for the next 10 weeks, you'll see me passing up on any drink specials and electing to drive on nights out. So, with my added education in nutrition thanks to Braden, I consulted with the Healthy Gamer's very own Jack Jones to come up with a more structured nutrition and lifting plan. In it, he gave me goals to hit depending on whether or not I'd be lifting that same day. For protein, I need to consume at least 150 grams, or roughly my target weight of protein, each and every single day. On days that I lift, my goal is to consume 350 grams of carbs. 140 of them should be in my post-workout meal. I'll be going all out on my 5x5 lift days, and I need the food to sustain that. On 2 out of the 4 rest days, I'll consume lesser amounts of carbs, roughly 250 grams. A new concept Jack introduced to me in this nutrition plan are fasting days. On these days, I'll keep my carb intake much lower than my other days by eating only nuts until the evening, where I'll then finish with a large meal of protein and veggies and a small amount of carbohydrates. He told me the idea is to reset my insulin sensitivity, which ultimately leads to bigger muscle gain each week. Be on the lookout for much more in-depth explanation of this concept in a future video from Jack. And before you go posting any comments about how fasting is bad and is going to kill me, Mom, it should be noted that I will be eating on fast days up to 150 grams of carbs. That's about 3.3 cups of white rice. I just won't be loading myself with the same ridiculously large portions I would on other days. Since this new plan was introduced to me later in the week, I've only gone through fasting and non-fasting rest days, but it's still a great amount to eat. My first day in this nutrition plan on a lift day would be when this video comes out, and I'm sure I'll have something to say about it on Twitter. From here on out, I'll also be counting my calories to get a better understanding of my average caloric intake. From there, we can adjust my nutrition plan accordingly. I'll be sure to update you guys on how my calorie intake is in a future episode. This week, both Braden and Jack have really reminded me that my goal of hitting 145 pounds isn't just about weight. It's about what kind of weight I'm adding, and what foods are going to help me build muscle in a way that doesn't damage my overall health. As Jack said, I'm not trying to add a single ounce more of fat than I have to, and I've been instructed to limit my sugar intake. Simple carbs are being limited to just post-workout. Compared to earlier in the week, I've swapped calorie-packed but sugar-dense donuts for much cleaner morning oats. With actual numbers and goals on calories, carbohydrates, and proteins in my mind, it'll be easier to gauge where I'm at in the day. Braden mentioned that tracking your numbers isn't a requirement to live a healthier life, and I'd agree with that. But for the sake of this challenge and to get the best results, this is something that I personally want to do. I want to thank you all for sticking through all of this content in episode 2. I know it's a lot to digest. But every step that I'm taking right now is hopefully getting me that much closer to my goal of gaining my muscle mass without gaining body fat. That's the key here. And so, as of this week, heading into episode 3, I currently weigh 136 pounds, 136.2 pounds actually, which is a 1.6 pound increase from episode 1. What I'm really curious about is, where does that weight come from? Is it from the muscle that I'm gaining, or is it actually from the fat that I'm adding as a result of my nutrition? Which brings us to our episode 3 subject, BMI and body fat. What does it all mean? What does my body fat say about me? Am I technically obese? I know a lot of you guys have been asking me, what is your body fat, Joe? And honestly, right now, I don't know for sure. So I'll be going to what's called a bod pod, which is a machine that kind of evaluates your statistics. We'll talk to a nutritionist, hopefully, and get some questions answered like, what does BMI say about me, and how can I lose body fat or gain body fat if that is your goal? So please like, comment, and subscribe to these channels, and more importantly, share these videos. If this is content that you like and you want to see more of, share this with your friends and family. Tell them you're a part of this challenge too, and follow my Twitch at below, and my Twitter at below, and episode 3, Body Fat and BMI, next week. I'll see you there.